How's it going, everybody? This is Loop Community Reason Trainer Carlos Ramirez coming at you today with a tutorial on how to compose a simple beat in Reason, as well as taking your individual tracks and exporting them as audio so that you may import into your DAW of choice, be Ableton, Logic, or Pro Tools. Um, the beat that we're going to be using today is actually a beat that I wrote some time ago, but it's pretty simple, straightforward, and it's just a track that lends itself for a lot of growth, just a lot of room to be able to add bells and whistles. And often the best ideas are the simplest. So, um, as usual, or as many of you know, um, we start off by setting the rhythm. Um, So first we're going to open up a Dr. Octorex, drums, acoustic drums, vintage, jazz funk at 75 BPM. So as many of you may or may not know, you can write in any given patch, uh, be it pencil it in or automate it. You can choose different loops within a patch. And it'll record on your sequencer window right here. But we're not going to do that today because I actually only use one loop. Just keep it real simple. So I'm going to disable loop playback, and I'm going to leave it here on number 2 because that's actually the one that I chose. Copy loop to track. Okay, so as you can see, it did just that. So let's take a listen. Cool. All right. All right, so next I'm actually going to bring in a Thor polysonic synthesizer. Okay. And the patch that I chose is under signature patches, Pascal Gabriel, 8-bit. All right. So let's try that. So as you can see, that's pretty nasty. So we should probably quantize that. All right. I don't know if I already mentioned this, but I'm using my computer keyboard. I don't have a keyboard attached right now, but it's cool. Let's listen. All right. So let's delete these guys right here. Let's actually make the grid a little more accurate. Boom. I like that one, so I'm just going to keep that one. Cool. So we'll just get rid of these. We'll just use this 2-bar loop. Pop it over, copy and paste. Let's take a listen. Cool. It's grooving. Sounds cool. All right. We'll just close this up right here. All right. So, before I move forward, very important, label everything. underrated labeling is. Gotta do it. Alright, so we got 2 instruments so far. Cool. So next, I'm all about the 808, so it's kind of going to act as the bass line. You can never go wrong with an 808. So that would be under percussion, bass drums, 808. Cool. So there it is. So it's A and E. So let's try that. So that was kind of funky and off. Some latency going on. But as you can see, select all, Command K will quantize. Cool. Alrighty, so we'll just copy and paste that. Okay, so next, we got the 808, but it's kind of lacking a little bit of thump. So we'll bring in a Kong. Alright, so I don't know how many of you guys out there know who Hank Shockley is, but if you don't know who he is, you should look him up. He's under Bomb Squad. That's his patches. Under Kong patches, Kong kits, Bomb Squad. And I really dig this kit right here, the M9, what is it, BSQ. So we're going to load that up. And we're going to use that kick drum right there. Cool. So let's record that. Ooh, that's gnarly. Alright, so this keyboard thing isn't working out too well, so I think I'm actually going to write these in. Oh, okay. Copy and paste that right there. Okay. Maybe it's 1/16. No, maybe it is 1/32. Let's try that. Cool. Alright, so get rid of these bad boys. Actually, let's try this. Get rid of this just to avoid clutter and confusion down the road. Snap. Cool. Alrighty. So, what you can do next, if you plan on arranging this thing a little bit more, I mean, arrangement is key. You'll just copy and paste, pop it in your block window. All right. And I won't go over blocks right now, but just know that the same thing we just did in our song arrangement window, we did in our block arrangement window. And that'll be for another tutorial. But for now, what we have is we have an 8-bar loop with 4 instruments. Oh, you know what? Almost forgot something very important. Okay. Let's take a listen. Cool. Almost forgot that. All right. Now, there's a couple of more things I want to do to accentuate the track. So let's start with our 8-bit. And what I did in the original track, I liked its sparseness, but it was lacking. So we just popped a RPGA, as you can see from our tool window. Okay. And just click and drag. Don't forget to label. Cool. So now you got the arpeggiator working it. Pop it into 4 octaves. Leave it on up. Cool. A little bit of mixing right here. A little bit. So we will add a little bit of delay. I'm sorry, chorus. Just kind of widen it. Drop that down just a tad. Cool. And I think what we're gonna do is I'm gonna add a comb filter. A little loud. This drum loop, I'm all about this drum loop, but it is lacking. I mean, it's cool, but it needs something, so let's pop an insert on it, or a few. I kind of stumbled upon this little doohickey trick some time ago. I really like, well, I'll show you guys rather. So let's reset this aka initialize, reset device. Okay, so now there's nothing, you know. You have absolutely nothing in any of the pads or your effects. Um, so we'll just take this, your insert, send to device, and then return it to insert returns on your drum loop mix channel. Insert, okay. And grab the filter, open it wide up, okay. And there's something about this resonance knob. It kind of gives it a little bit more of an analog characteristic, which is pretty dope. So listen to what that sounds like. That's what it sounds like with, without, with. You can just play around with it. It's very subtle, but it's cool. Love the sound of tape. So boom. We'll add a little bit to taste. And let's see, let's just drop that. Let's bypass this. Let's see what that sounds like. Cool. Pop this all the way up. A little less compression. Alright, let's intro some tube. Cool. Sounds cool. Let's actually bring this tape up to 56 or so, 60. Alright, cool. Too much tube. Alright, let's actually bring this down more. Another thing that I really like, and I'll do this sometimes to drum loops, is, well, I'll show you guys. So, drum loop insert. So instead of coming back directly to the insert return, just go to the input of this combinator, and then take the output, insert returns. So, let's see. It's thinking. Okay, so got a lot of random Pef's mid-side, very moo. It's just a mid-side processor for compression and EQ. I'm not going to get into the science behind that, but I'll pop it on there. If you want to download this, it's at propellerheads.sc /stuff/JB41.zip. So we'll just call this mid-side. Actually, loop mid-side. Cool. So let's disengage that for a second and see what it sounds like. Anyway, you can kind of see I'm playing around with the tone. It just fattens up the drums. But I want you guys to hear what it sounds like with the inserts bypassed on the drums. I mean, it's pretty heavy processing, and we've really squashed the drums. Um, I mean, pretty extremely. So, you can just kind of hear the tape saturation tube. You can hear the compression. You can kind of hear the air compressed in the drums. It just kind of brings it a kind of a warm distortion. Anyway, just a little bit of mixing. We can get into the mix down of the rest of the track at some other point, but you can kind of see where the track starts coming to life. So at this point, what we can do is export the track. I mean, there's a couple of ways of doing this. We can do an 8-bar loop. We also can take the end of the song. We have right here, the only track that we have in stereo is the Kong. I don't have anything panned right now, so I'm not too worried about it, but I will leave it as a stereo track. So I have my end marker. I'm actually going to put it over here. Well, let's do this. Okay, so I have my my loop markers right here, left and right. And I also have my end marker right here at the beginning of bar 9. So either way, I mean, essentially, it's this all the way through. And it'll just loop. And we can do that. In fact, let's just do that a little bit. What we can do is we can take out drums. We can take out the drum loop. We can take out the 808. Let's see what that sounds like. So, we could have done that in blocks, but we left it in here for now. So essentially, that's how a track is built. Little by little. So what we'll do now is we'll go Reason, and we'll go under File menu, and we'll say Bounce Mixer Channels, and we want to highlight all the tracks that you want to bounce out. So in this instance, we'll export the whole song. And as you can see over here, the end marker is at 9. So, short song for now. I want it just as is. So I'll click on all. All channel settings are applied. All exported audio will be stereo. You can do all except fader section. It will still export all your stereo channels as they are. It'll export all your stereo as stereo, all your mono as mono. So all channel settings are applied except for level and pan. It will revert the audio back as if it had not been panned, and if it had not been cut or boosted. None. The signal will be tapped before EQ, dynamics, and other channel settings. So essentially, it'll just export the raw files, and normalize is basically it'll, as you can see, adjust the gain of each exported file so that the maximum level is 0 dB, which means essentially you'll limit everything. Nothing will peak. But for now, nothing's peaking. I'll just set on all. Master section, I'll get into at a later tutorial. That is very important. And basically, all your effects sends right here, which we used none. So right now, I'm just going to bounce to audio files on disk. Song, start to end marker. And like I said, you could do a loop left to right. I'm going to do wave, sample rate 44.1, 16-bit, and I will add dither. So it'll ask me where I want to put it. So I'll say desktop. And now it's thinking. So essentially, that's the way to build a beat, export your tracks. I personally like importing them into Ableton Live and running them to any DAW. If you want to do a remix, etc., you can do that too. So thanks so much for watching. Until next time, Carlos Ramirez signing off for Loop Community. Thanks.